Welcome to episode 4 of Womentalk podcast. And today we're going to be talking about the hidden victims of addiction. So it not only affects those addicts, but who it affects around them. So Alhamdulillah, today I'm joined by, I don't want to say sister Sarah, so I'll just say Rihanna and Tyra. Thanks for joining us. So we'll be discussing today addictions, not only for those addicts, but those people that it affects around the addicts, because addiction is something that's it not only affects the addict, but it can affect everybody who is involved with the addict, and the widespread effects that it can cause and who it can affect. So I want to bring Tyra into it first of all. So mashallah, you're a trainee chaplain, and also you're a teacher at academy. So how long have you been teaching at academy for?
I think it's about 8 years or so.
So mashallah, you've been teaching a long time. So you teach women and like young girls from the age of, is it about 14?
So about around 12 plus is the kind of age range. And then it can vary from 12 to any age.
So have you seen so talking about addictions, so we can mean anything from drugs, alcohol, social media, anything like that. Have you seen over the years that you've been teaching like addictions that have slowly crept into the people that you teach, and have you seen any effects or anything like that?
I think if we look at addictions on the whole, what is an addiction? So you have over a long amount of time, or maybe even a time, a person has made like a habit, something that they have created as a habit. And so that's a process. It takes time. What I would say I've noticed is that maybe prior to this, it wasn't that obvious. But now what we're finding is that these things are coming to the surface quicker. So before, where we would not have seen, or maybe the odd 13, 14, 15-year-old had, become addicted to something. But now, or maybe even older. But now you've got more younger children, I would say, youth, who have become addicted to things very, very quickly. So there is that thing that I would say has crept in, where we're seeing that a bit more. It's a bit more in the mainstream compared to where you would say maybe, we don't even know if it was there before. But then it could be to do with accessibility, because I think things have become a bit more accessible. Drugs, these type of, even it's not addictions just with regards to drugs, but you've got your vapes, you've got your other type of things that people can get addicted to. So I think it's become more accessible. It's just like you want to go and buy a bag of crisps, you can go and buy a vape, right? We were saying it's like literally that's what it's like. You can just go and buy a vape. And in if you go back in maybe the day where we were a bit younger, but you couldn't go into a shop. And they would be very strict maybe with the 16-year-old thing. It's very, very secretive. Now it's common. No one's gonna. It's not that. No one is enforcing the law with regards to that, and people are just putting it out there. So yes, it is a bit more accessible. It is more in the mainstream. I would say.
So do you think it's because of everybody else is doing it? So I have to sort of do it as well, and social media sort of playing a role in that sense as well.
I mean, it's actually quite shocking. Well, first of all, I'm shocked I'm sitting here. What are you doing in my seat? Get off.
I'll swap with you. I don't mind.
I mean, we're sitting here like a guest. It's easy, I think. I don't know. It's quite. The thing that's shocking for me is, go to the Stone Age when I was in school, right?
Long time ago.
And you used to get the odd people running to the park and having a cigarette, behind the swings and whatever. Nowadays, it was the English more, and our Muslim children didn't do it as much. And you look now, and it's not just boys. There's girls. They're vaping. I mean, I go out and I'm walking around with my kids, and they'll be like, I can smell weed, and I'm like,
what does it smell like?
Floating across the street.
where is it? I can't smell it, but they know. They can
identify what it is.
How can a 16-year-old identify weed, and me, an adult, I'm not going to tell you my name, not know what it is? But they know all the drugs. They know about what is it, CBD, and there's that THC or something. And it's not now. It's not. You're not talking about an 18 plus.
No,
You're
no,
talking
no, no.
about secondary school children
Yes.
who are involved in it, and it really is quite shocking. And I think you're right. It might be social media,
Peer
and
pressure.
it might be peer pressure. Come on, if you see your friend doing it,
Yeah, yeah.
or that
Absolutely.
you're in a group of friends and
Yeah.
one's doing it, and then the other one's gonna go and give it a go.
Yeah.
You know, try it. It's
And it
not that
links to
bad.
this thing of acceptance. So why is it that a child or any young person feels the need to copy another person doing something that they know is wrong, harmful for them, harming them, and probably morally wrong as well? And it's for them to accept them as part of their group.
Yeah.
So they will have a sense of belonging by maybe doing that. So it's actually deep rooted. It's not just, I just want to kind of fit in, or it's, like my friends are doing it, I want to do it. It goes back to this even social media issue of why do people post pictures on social media? Why do they feel that they have that need? It's that acceptance. I want to be accepted by somebody. Maybe you don't even know me. Yeah. Majority of people on social media, what is it that you don't even know that person? As long as I've got hundreds of thousands, I'm happy. Because, and then we let their comments hurt us. If, like, say, for example, we're trolling. So what it is acceptance by society, by community, by big, and that's maybe one of the roots of this, of a sense of belonging, a sense of loss of purpose. Yeah. And everybody else is doing it.
Yeah, but the youth aren't even scared.
No.
They're not even scared to post that they're,
I don't know the saying because well, we used to say like "Besharam," no shame.
I'm sure you use that word still.
There's no shame anymore. There's there's no shame in people going out and doing things publicly and posting it and not being bothered.
I think
Shame isn't a concern anymore.
no, I don't think shame is a big deal. I think it's, and I've seen this like in a short amount of time that they are getting quickly, like before it took like 6 months or maybe a year to get addicted to a certain thing. It's taking a matter of weeks or a matter of like a month or something, a short period of time. And it's just because of now the things that are put in there as well. So your vape isn't just vape anymore. You're putting THC in it, and that's it. You're getting addicted to oil. Instant, and it's like, okay, first time, yeah, I didn't kind of like it. Second, third time, it kind of increases.
And you become
I thought she said I didn't like it.
So much.
That first cigarette.
No, so in trouble.
cigs is the I would say a smaller problem to some extent compared to some of the things that we're dealing with at the moment.
Of types of addiction.
But social media advertisement hasn't helped that. If you look at that, because before they used to say cigarettes were harmful, right, because of the tar and the nicotine and everything, and now they're saying that vaping is less harmful.
Yeah.
So what they've done is they hyped it up, and then kids are getting into their heads. Okay, well, cigarettes were dangerous.
But I've just recently read that this vaping market is more addictive than the cigarettes, and more children are doing it.
100% more children are doing it, and that there's not enough studies to see what the harms
Yeah.
are.
Yeah, they're not doing enough.
It's not enough
research.
research.
Yeah.
It's a new thing, and you don't know the damages long term. What could happen?
So we've touched on addiction and different types. Have you, Rihanna? Have you any thoughts or any experiences firsthand of those that aren't just affected by the addiction, but those that in that circle? So not the addict, those that are affected around that person.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I've known members of extended families whose child has become addicted, and that child.
So just to put it in there, you're a professional counsellor.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I
Sister
hope I am.
Rihanna is a professional
Just to drop it in
counsellor.
there.
Yeah, just
to put that in there. Yeah. So
yeah, but I'm going to talk. I mean, this part I know personally where people have got addicted, and it started off small on just smoking, then it's gone to weed, and it's gone to drugs as well, like hardcore, cocaine and heroin.
Yeah.
And the thing is, you see someone's child nice and healthy, and got a purpose in life, and then they've just, for some reason, they've fallen down. Maybe they haven't got the job that they wanted. Maybe they didn't get to the college they wanted. Maybe they got into a bad group of friends.
Yeah.
And they started something small. And that thing has spiraled to the point where all their concern is, I need the next fix. I need the next fix. And
Yeah.
they will steal, they will lie, they will get angry. And it's really heartbreaking to see.
Yeah.
And you can't bring them back to the brink because you, as a family member, as a friend, and even for the parents, which we're going to touch up upon because we don't want to focus too much on the addiction.
Yeah.
We want to look at how it affects the family members.
Yeah.
It's really heartbreaking to see them have to go through. So you're not, like you
know-
said, you've not only got the addict,
Yeah.
you've got the family members who are suffering as well,
Yeah.
and they're the ones that are helpless.
Yeah.
Because they're seeing their husband, their spouse, their daughter go through these sort of things.
Yeah.
And there's nothing that.
And where do they go? What do they do?
And there's so many families that maybe don't say this because of the whole societal pressure. They're not going to come out there as Asian communities as we do, and they're not going to turn around and say we've got an issue with one person's on drugs in our family, and as a consequence, the whole family is suffering. Because, as Rihanna mentioned, they'll steal, they'll do anything they want with regards to the fix. But that fix for them is they don't care what happens in the process to everybody else.
Yeah.
So that whole family will suffer as a unit. So it could be the children watching, like, just as an example, if it's a brother, they're watching their brother go through that process, maybe smashing things up, maybe reacting because they're not being able to do what they want to do with regards to trying to get to whatever, the drugs that they're on. You've got the mother or the father, maybe helpless, actually thinking, okay, they're thinking, well, the way to do it is naturally just stop.
Yeah.
And they can't, and they just sat there watching helplessly, and then that whole environment is absolutely gone down.
Yeah.
And
see, I personally know a family who the son turned from, just the
normal
smoking
kid,
the weed and then going on to the hardcore
to
drugs.
losing them.
And what the mother actually did, she used to pay for her son's drugs because she didn't want him to go out stealing. Because that's the only thing that
What
he
could
would
she
do.
do?
What
Yeah.
could she do?
Yeah.
She didn't want him to
she
get.
didn't want him to go.
To get
She
arrested
thought,
or-
okay, he's only harming himself,
Yeah,
but if
yeah.
he steals, then he's going to harm other people,
Yeah.
or he's going to get arrested.
So she was suffering in her own way.
Yeah.
And then this question arises then, like, well, where does a father come in? And and does that cause a divide within the family unit as well? Because if the father doesn't agree and the mother does agree, then it causes clashes then amongst that family unit.
And both are different, aren't they?
No, but the thing is, though, okay, if the parents stay quiet because maybe for shame or maybe they're helpless, is that in one way condoning what their child is doing?
I don't know. I don't think I would say it is. I think it's they're not. It is what you're saying. Like, it's not condoning, but I think it's.
But
they
then
maybe
you've
feel
got
it's going to
that
add to their existing pressures.
Yeah.
Of like,
But then
I'm going through this
that
anyway.
mom's got the stigma within the society of like, oh, my son is like this.
Yeah.
I have to sort of like.
It's this
she might be
failed
thinking I'm
mum
trying
thing.
to help him. Yeah.
It's this failed mum thing.
Right.
Like, how many people out there go and ask the mothers of not just drugs, any kind of thing that has taken their child into a bad place. And it's a natural reaction for a parent. And we're speaking as mothers.
Yeah.
A natural reaction for a parent would be blame yourself.
Yeah.
I must have done something, or I have failed as a parent. There must be a reason that my child has ended up going down the route that it is. I disagree with this.
I disagree with that.
Yeah, to
Blame
blame
the parent. I mean,
you can only
if they have
neglected
that child,
and fair enough.
but I mean, if you look at prophetic previous prophets, Hazrat Nuh alayhi salam
Was a prophet
of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, wasn't he? Yeah.
but you found that
His child did go against him. Yeah.
and said no.
I'm not going to obey the commands of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. No, I'm not going to follow Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
Can you turn
Can I say that Hazrat Nuh alayhi salam didn't do a good job? And I know we don't compare to prophets, like we can't compare to prophets.
But the thing is
This natural thing of your child's messed up.
No, but that mother feels trapped. She feels like she can't go anywhere else to help. Or I'm gonna get judged.
Everybody's going to say failed.
But there's that other thing that you can have, and I know that there are really good parents, respectable. They're giving their kids time. They've been caring. They've created a really nice environment, and their children have gone down the wrong path. But then that they've done, some parents, and I think it's so bad. The sons are doing drugs, and they think, okay, let's get him married off, and the wife will sort him out.
Yeah.
Uh,
Does that work sometimes, you think?
I don't think it works because if you as a parent,
You're pushing the responsibility on somebody else.
No, but check this.
Let's go to the roots.
Because we're discussing
About reason why people
take drugs,
or reason why people sometimes go to that thing.
and I think
Sometimes it is sense of belonging,
sense of
acceptance, and all of these things.
many other
Things as well, past traumas.
because I remember
Listening to something just
recently, and there was a
guy who was mentioning about
um
how
a person started to take hardcore drugs because he went on holiday or something in Egypt and his wife was kidnapped and all her organs were taken out and he found her in a morgue. And they said after that this guy started to take drugs. Now, they said to everybody else he seems like a crackhead. But ask him what he went through to get to that stage. And it's not, I'm not condoning and I'm not saying also it's okay. But because we don't have that anchor, which is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then we don't know where else to channel out this energy and this emotion that we have. And hence, this is one of the reasons that people turn to things like that. So I'm not saying it's okay. It might work for some people to go and get married and fix it. So I'm just saying that different things work for
But that's it.
different
Some
people,
people turn to drink because, like, they might be in pain.
Yeah.
You know, they have a lot of pain, so they turn to like drinking and drugs just to block that.
Yeah, definitely. There has to be something there. There has to be, and it doesn't mean it's that issue is caused by the family. It could be a trauma or an emotional issue that could be caused at school. Could be caused at mosque. It could be caused with peers, bullying. Something or other has led this child to feel, and sometimes it's I'm not good enough. I'm not good enough. I'm not maybe getting the right grades. I don't look as pretty. I don't look as handsome. I'm not as clever. My cousins, my sister, my families, my friends, they're doing better than me. It's that maybe that hurt and pain and that how they perceive themselves.
But then society's to blame in this one a little bit, right? Because which mother doesn't tell her child or his child, like, you're beautiful? Because they're the most beautiful.
No, told me I was beautiful.
I knew you were going to say that. Which mother doesn't?
I tell myself every day.
Of course they do. Yeah, and they constantly, no, you're doing brilliant. I mean, some people might be bring their children up, but generally the parent will always try. But it's this society thing a little bit that comes back into it, where we're continuously bringing people down, saying this is the perfect face, this is the perfect status, this is the perfect and that purpose has become something else. Losing the focus because we think actually I need to look perfect. Actually I need to have the best job. Actually I need to have the best house. And look at majority.
But who
of
are you pleasing then?
Exactly. And
That's the thing, though, isn't it?
Exactly. That's what
Who
we're
are
saying.
you pleasing? Because if you try and please, what's that thing? You can please some of the people some of the time. You can please all the people some of the time, but you can't please all the people all the time. And that's what I think they've put the level at. They've said to the kids or to the husbands or to the wives that it's not even children. There are the scary thing is that there are Muslim mothers out there who are addicted. And my kids are addicted to the phone.
My princess, that's
me as well.
I'm addicted to chocolate. Chocolate and cakes.
Chocolate.
I think it's actually interesting. We could ask the audience.
Well, I was just going to say that. I was just going to say,
Okay.
like, whilst we're talking about the most popular addictions out there, ask the audience now, what addictions do you think you have within your household, and how is it affecting you guys?
Let's
hear some of the responses that we get.
And we can just touch upon them because we're looking at the mainstream addictions, alcohol and drugs. But there are other addictions that can cause disunity in the family. The phone, and it causes
the biggest one of the
disunity in the family, isn't it?
and it can cause problems in relationships.
Yeah, of course it can. Or you're spending more time. You may as well have got married to your phone.
Well, it doesn't speak back.
It doesn't answer back like you.
Well, if it's Google, it does. It gives you.
There's Siri and then
Siri on your phone.
Hey Siri,
be quiet. Ask you to speak.
But it is crazy. I mean, when you think about the effects that it has, I mean, the hidden gems out there. it is really sad that there are parents. I mean, what do you think? At what age do you think parents lose control of their kids? Not in a bad way, because there is an age that we as parents will not have control over our children.
I think it starts at a very young age. You start to notice the nuffs and the control, the kid trying to fight back, but they're still children. I think it's where they feel they've got control. So it can be different for each child, can't it? So if you have a 13-year-old who thinks, actually, I want to do my own thing. I don't care what you say anymore.
What was with the swagger then?
I want to do my own
Did you
thing.
see that swagger?
It's because I've got kids who speak like that.
Yeah, I was going to say, I want to do my own
That's
thing.
because I've got kids who speak like that. So
No cracks in your relationship, girl.
Yeah. So you've got kids. Yeah, you got.
Sorry, I just thought.
It's a private joke. These two have got going. But as Tyra was saying, yeah, you've got kids at 13, or it depends on the age of the child, where they think that they're independent, or they feel that they've got control over the family.
yeah, not control of it. They feel they want control of themselves. You should be controlling me.
I
Okay.
want to do what I want to do.
Yeah.
And I feel I'm ready at that age to
Make my
go out
own
and spread my
decision.
wings and make my own decisions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
And that's probably
Tyra
around about the time, I think it's teenage years, you'd start to see a notice in that, and in terms of hormones and things like that changes, so it kind of, that builds up. But it depends, because you might have, like I find that, I don't know whether this is true, but I find girls do it later, maybe with boys it's a little bit earlier. But that's the experience that I've had.
I don't know, mine is like, I mean, when they hit
Teen.
okay, year 7, 8, year 7s, they're still
Nice.
They're still babies.
They're still
Nice.
babies.
Yeah.
They've gone into secondary school. The whole school thing is a bit of a like, where am I? What am I doing? I've got to be an adult.
Yeah.
Year 8, they get their feet settled in, and now they see different dynamics at the
Going
school
on,
going on, and they're getting a little bit. Year 9,
Hormones,
that's it.
I think,
like the back,
year 9,
like,
yes.
you know, the test, like, the
waters.
bit of the back chart. And,
Yes.
you know,
But there's different types of addictions. So I would say like the testing, the drugs, the alcohol in schools, and you know what? It's mad that it's so common in schools now. But then you'll find in college years, and there's a different type of thing. Lies about the relationships and the girls and then the boys and then that kind of thing. So it's different types of things that are coming into the dynamics with regards to trying to gain back control or trying to keep control.
Yeah, in college, by the time they get to college, if they've done it, most of them, unless they're hardcore, they've done the testing of the, the beer and the alcohol and the smoking and the weed.
Yeah.
And now in college, now they want to play Romeo and Juliet, basically. They want to play Romeo and Juliet.
yeah.
That bit they're not bothered about.
Right,
They want to do that bit. Unless they've fallen down so deep
Yeah.
and they haven't got that. They've lost so much self-worth and they've got themselves into a rut that's the path now.
But we got called into the school once, and it was to do something else. But I remember one of the teachers mentioning that she said, just to let you know that there's one boy in our school who's come crying to us and said, "I'm addicted, help me." And he was 14 years old.
Wow.
And that was on THC. And this is what the thing that scares me the most. Standing there, parked up, ready to pick up your child, and you can see a group of lads or a group of girls going down an alleyway, going down a back street, going down a place where no one can see them, and everyone's just having a quick vape of they don't know what. And they ended up in hospital. Some children ended up in hospital with this. So what happens is they don't even know what they're taking, and this is the most dangerous thing. Now imagine a mum getting called to school, and she said, for just think about it on this level, because we're talking about the outer and the family's being affected on a bigger level. You've got a mum who's spending time with a daughter, or a mum she's gone for a day out with her other children, the other ones at school or the other ones, and then she gets a call saying, "Come pick your child up, he's high on this," or "Come pick your child, he's done this." Imagine that person who she's with is suffering as a consequence. Her own self. She's at work. So she's at work. She's wherever she is. She has to drop work.
Going on.
She has to drop work, or he has to drop work, and they have to stop whatever they're doing. That life becomes on hold. But that person does not realise that. Everybody is being affected. They just think it's about me. But they're not realising that the effect it's had on them other people. And there's resentment there. Because what will happen is, say that child you were with, a younger child maybe, or an older child, they lost out on that because of that child.
Yeah.
So it creates a resentment between the two.
Yeah, they're going to say, how come you always run when he or she gets in trouble? How come you always run?
And he ruins it for us. These are the words.
He ruins our day out or whatever.
Yeah.
And then the focus then is on the mum's focus is on that child.
Yeah.
And then that kid gets left out.
Yeah.
And then the risk is that kid will go down the same path.
Because they'll think that's how you get attention.
Yeah.
So it's such a trap for a parent, isn't it? Like this continuous trying to balance and make sure. So it's so difficult. And these are the people, like these other siblings in that family, who are unheard. Like they're the ones who are just sitting there quietly while everyone's fighting downstairs. The hidden victims who sat there. You know, while everyone else is having a squabble downstairs, you shouldn't be doing that. Or why did you do this and that? And then they just sat upstairs probably thinking, geez, what's, you know, it is.
You made me come to school. You know, you made me pick you up. Why are you taking these drugs? Why are you vaping? And they're spending 1-2 hours. And that child who's upstairs may be struggling with homework.
But do you think the parent does? Do you think
no, they're not doing it on purpose.
But do you think they don't realise it neither, though?
I don't think they do, because what they're trying to do is get this child back on track.
Yes.
And what they're doing,
on that child,
to stop him or her getting further down the line. But they're neglecting the quieter ones.
Yeah.
But do you think that because the parents don't realise that they're doing that?
I think that's the thing. But I would say
because they've got the pressure of the extended family.
Yeah.
You imagine your child is doing drugs or whatever they're doing something wrong. They might be going out clubbing. They're doing something wrong, and you as a parent are trying to get them on the straight path. You're going to have to think about the child. You're going to have to think about the extended family. What if my uncle finds out? What if my mother finds out? What if my brothers and sisters find out? Because they're not going to come knocking on your door unless, sympathetically and say, what do you need for help? They're knocking on your door. What is that?
What's going on? You're putting our name.
You're putting our name. You're dishonouring us. Why your son? Ship him off to Pakistan. Oh yeah, let's send him to a country where there's no restrictions at all. And they've got that pressure. They want to fix the child as soon as possible. One, society, the community, they want to keep it under wraps. And two, family as well. They don't want to be labelled as the parents of the druggie.
What do you think the audience with regards to other types of addictions? Did they say anything with regards to any other addictions?
Okay, so we've had one of the issues is there isn't a Muslim rehab centre, as many Muslims will be addicted to different drugs, but we can talk about that. Can you suggest any solutions that will help our youth? The hardest things to overcome is peer pressure. Dear viewers, what kind of addictions are present in your... Right, that's what...
Does trauma play in addiction?
Does trauma play in addiction, and how can it be effectively addressed in treatment? The community and the masjids need to come together to build a rehab centre rather than fighting over silly issues like moon wars.
I think this one's quite funny. Do you want to read that one out?
Harp it. During very, very difficult times in my life, I become addicted to doing the Gangnam style. Well, as long as you're not doing that in public, you might be all right. Depending if you've got a rhythm going. But the question about... One of the things I think that views have touched upon, we're building masjids on every street corner.
Yeah.
Right, as a community, as representatives of the community, why are you not tackling the issues? Because people, they can't have their eyes closed, can they? Everyone can see what's going on. Everyone can see that our youth.
But then again, it's that stigma again, isn't it, within the Muslim community?
No, but it's silly.
I know it's silly, but it's still.
I don't think it's just the stigma. I think we're not trained.
Yeah,
I think
we don't know how to help.
I think the madrasas
exactly.
And I think that's one of the things that we need to understand is the mosques. If you look at the mosques and the masajid in the time of the Prophet ﷺ, they weren't just you go pray 5 times a day. They were a hub. They were a zawiyah. You would go learn. You would go train. You would go better yourselves. And I think that's what we've lost in our society. We can build big buildings.
Do you feel like it should be that women should be allowed into the masjids at any time then? Because that's how a lot of people feel, that the mosque is only for the men. It's just for them to go and pray the 5 times namaz.
Yeah, and
we should as women in the community, like you said, building these rehab centres
Yeah.
and stuff like that, making an area or a section in within the masjids solely for
Women.
women.
to come and speak.
Majority
and speak
do
and to
have
have-
areas for women, but it's just to come and pray.
Pray.
And I think that's what we're trying to say is this 5 times salat. It's the most important thing. There's no doubt it's a full command of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But what we're also forgetting is one of the questions I think on there was, what would you advise the youth? Well, you can't ask someone to leave something without replacing it with something. So you can't say leave this and then just leave it. They need to replace it with something. Therefore, if their time was spent into that addiction, then that time now needs to be transferred into something else.
Yeah.
They need to be kept busied. So this is where these the rehab centres, not just rehab centres, but these things come in.
Well, if you had a rehab centre open, because there are rehab centres.
Yeah.
You know, there's BDAS in Bolton.
Right, okay.
But who's going to go there?
Who knows about BDAF in Bolton?
Yeah, but who's going to... No, but
do you know what I mean? That's the thing. It's like...
No, but you imagine you're a family who's trying to keep this
Hidden.
quiet and hidden,
yeah.
right? Because you don't want the stigma of the community, and you don't want people talking about you behind your back. And are these parents then going to actually? It's going to take a very brave person to say, you know what? My son has a problem, but I don't want my son or my daughter to go through the rest of their life being this way. So I'm going to get them professional help, because me as a parent, I'm helpless. I don't have the training, I don't have the resources, I don't know how to help my child. I've done everything in my power to help my child, and I can't do it because my child is not getting any better. I'm giving them love, I'm giving them materialistic things, I'm giving them a house, somewhere safe to stay, but my child is still on that path. So I don't care what the community says, I don't care what the extended family members say. It takes a very strong person to do that, and unfortunately we don't have that, because the stigma is the thing that's pushing
the last
us down.
place that you're going to take them to is the mosque, because that's where everybody knows everybody else.
Yeah, go to the mosque and go, you're cured, you know.
You need
I'm sorry.
You need like a neutral
No,
place.
you know what? Honest to God, right? I'm not even joking, right? A lot of people, there's a problem, like, black magic stubbies.
She's right. You know what it is? We do try to go down
they
that
blame
route.
it on the I've got a gene.
Take it to the
magic.
You know what we can do? There's one other option.
Okay.
We can try anything, right? So I think one of the things that I would say, as every single individual in the community, what we can do is, if the parent doesn't want to come, like you said, there's an organisation, highly unlikely that anybody's going to take their child there. But the thing is, we can equip the parents to maybe train themselves on how to help. Because it's about process, it's about taking a time to break that habit over a period of time. Just as it took a long time to get there, it takes a time to come out of it.
As well,
so it's like transfer, like, software, hardware, that type of thing. Like, it needs to be transferred.
Unprogrammed.
The programming that you've had, it needs to be deprogrammed. However, what we can do is, okay, if they don't come to you, what's stopping you from going to them?
Yeah.
So this is another thing I feel like as a society, as a community, we can provide. So it doesn't have to be about
That's the
mosque.
next workshop.
Yeah, that's the next workshop.
Addictions workshop.
But what I'm saying is, why
this
can't we?
topic needs
It needs to be addressed.
Yeah, it needs to be addressed, and we need to stop shying away from it with the solutions.
Why can't we go to them?
Yeah.
Why does it have to be, okay, well, you come to get...
You've got a problem and you come to us.
So we can go out to them, and in the sense, it doesn't have to be them, but you... anything that you want to resolve, you have to raise awareness of. So even if that person doesn't come to somewhere you went and spoke about this, somebody else might. And when they deal with that family, they might mention, actually, this, we heard this. How about this? And then there's a contact. There's a possibility of options. Actually, it seems like it's more of a private way of dealing with things, rather than going to the mosque, the imam, and telling them that.
But then again, it's like the addict. They need to sort of they have to admit that they've got a problem to actually get a solution.
100%.
You know, if they're still in denial and they're saying, "Oh, I'm okay. There's nothing wrong with me," then they're never going to get that help.
Yeah, 100%, until the person actually acknowledges. Because even if I've known parents that have taken kids to the doctors, the GPs, and then the GP then sends them to the chemist, and they get something, I can't remember top of my head, but they get liquid, and they go to the chemist, and they have to go there, and they drink it, and it's supposed to wean off the effects of drugs. Thing is, they get addicted to that.
It's methadone.
Methadone, yeah. And they get addicted to that.
Yeah,
instead.
They do. I've seen that
That's
myself.
interesting. So then that leads us on to this next topic: prescription drugs. Do you not think people get addicted to prescription
drugs?
drugs?
Yeah, definitely.
How many people take? What is it? I've forgotten its name now. The painkiller, the strong.
Paracetamol.
No,
Zapping.
Zapping. People pop Zapping like it's just a normal sweet.
But my husband pops paracetamol, like, you know. I've seen
a pill popper over here.
I had one paracetamol when I had a headache.
my husband, right, he gets paracetamol. Is that his breakfast? He goes in the medicine cabinet. He's like,
is it like an everyday thing, like where he has to have?
It's it's an everyday thing. I'm like, why are you having that? Prevention is better than cure. It's costing me 32p a packet. What are you on about? Parents are scared to confront their teenagers. The whole community finds that anyway. Perhaps sometimes surrounding come into play. For example, having friends. Yeah, 100%. We're saying about peer pressure. There are desperate parents out there who are looking for help, desperately searching for a centre. They don't want to send them to non-Muslim centres. Call a podcast to provide help and information. Okay, and offer support to these. Okay, So someone's made. There's a comment that someone made. Does trauma? Something about trauma.
Yeah, does trauma have an effect, or
effect,
take people to drugs or any?
Yeah, definitely. 100%. Trauma can be one of the links to addictions. So you've asked for help regarding support as parents. So one of the things that I'm not sure if it's on the screen. Is there our website on the screen or an email?
Maybe an email, I think.
Email or telephone number. In our organisation, we have life coaches, we have mentors, and so if anyone is struggling as a parent, as an individual yourself, if you're struggling with any type of addiction, you can get a hold of us. We will talk to you, we will try and help you, give you advice. It's not something that we can tell you here right now. One of the things I will say to you, no one chooses to go down the path of drugs.
No.
Whether it's your child, whether it's your spouse, whether it's a family member, they've not chosen to do it. Being harsh on them is not going to solve anything. Because they've started down that path, being harsh, yelling, screaming, shouting, threatening. You're going to make them feel worse. And you might have tried the gentle approach, but chopping and changing emotions is not going to help them. First of all, you have got to acknowledge my child has a problem, my spouse has a problem, my family member has a problem. Shouting and scaring them is not going to get them out of that problem. The other thing is to seek professional help. 100%. So go to your GP.
Yeah.
Go to your GP and try and get your child to go there, but go to the GP, tell them what drugs they are on. And the most important thing is have a conversation with the child. You can only try your best. You can only say, look, I know you're doing this. I want to try and help you. And these are the things I'm willing to try and do. And it's a case of I'm going to walk alongside with you.
Be there.
I want to be
that's
there.
That's all they need.
Yeah.
I just need somebody there just to know that they're with me.
And if that child falls, if that husband falls, if that wife falls, because women are doing it as well, don't be damning on them.
Yeah.
Don't say, oh, I tried to help you and look now you've done it again. You know, you were free for
down again.
Yeah, you've fallen down again. They're gonna fall. I'm gonna fall. People, we as human beings are meant to fall. We have flaws. We're not perfect, and it's about
creating.
It doesn't matter whether it's 100%.
Creating hope in that person, because if I can do anything for that person who's suffering, I can give them hope.
Yeah.
And this is what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given to us. And if you think about your worst day in your life, what was that? Somebody said something to you that gave you hope. Somebody said something that gave you that, actually, you know what, it's fixable. Actually, you know what, I can fix it. But having this attitude of that's it, you're gone or you're destroyed, you're never going to come out of this, this is really not the way forward. So creating hope in people, giving them that option of, I'm here, we'll get through this together. That's such a a kind of encouraging way. But just to also mention, with regards to the mentoring and the personal, like support that we provide, it's more emotional support. So this is for the victims, the hidden victims that we're talking about. So to the parent who's suffering, she doesn't know who to turn to, and she can speak to someone in confidence with regards to some of the issues that she's facing, and so like family members. But with regards to the actual addict, there would be professional. There has to be professional help that we're saying, involved, and then the support that they can get with regards to finding their purpose. How is it that they got there in the first place? Is the loss of purpose, thinking that these things were the goal and the objective, and is okay. Well, what is my true objective and goal? And learning these things will also help that journey back to actually fulfilling your purpose. But in regards to the families, the people who are suffering around them, we can help in the senses in like.
And it doesn't have to be just females.
No.
Even fathers out there, or the males, or brother.
Yeah. We've got male teams who can deal with that.
Yeah, we have male mentors and life coaches. For those people, it wasn't there before, and you are struggling, our contact is womentalk@zavia.org. And if there are any male out there that are struggling, you can email messages on there, and we will then contact the relevant person to get in touch with you and help you. The reason why we've done this podcast, and it's a touchy subject, is so that we're trying to reduce the stigma, and we want to discuss taboo subjects. We're being realistic that it's there, it's prevalent, it's in our communities, it's affecting our children, it's affecting our mothers, it's affecting our whole community as a whole. 20 years ago, this was not happening.
No.
Now it
was probably happening, but behind closed doors, and
or on a smaller scale, I would say, as well.
On a smaller scale. But
someone told me once, right, that they went to a mosque, and as they were going by, they saw the boys behind her in their jubbas, all smoking.
Yeah.
You know,
common practice in Taraweeh, isn't it?
pretending they're going to the mosque.
Like the 10 Taraweehs and then just run out and have
before they go home. So,
but then have we not failed again? Like, why is it that they would rather do that? Isn't it that we kind of need to figure out what is it that maybe they're bored, maybe it's not grasping them. So then
maybe the parents don't even know. Maybe that child is living double life.
Yeah.
You know, they're going out and they're acting like
a majority.
If they're hardcore drugs.
That you can't hide.
You can't hide that.
Yeah,
no,
but it takes a process to get to that, doesn't it? It takes a process to get to that.
So but then is that not too late then when the parent finds out?
It's never too late.
No. Because if someone's hardcore at 20, they're going to give up on them at 20 or 25. Yeah. They've got, Allah give them long life. They've got another 60 odd years to go.
She's counted the years accordingly.
Yeah, okay. You have.
I think the roots need to be. I personally think that one of the key issues here is we need to and you know what, to some extent, Rihanna, your husband's advice of prevention is better than cure is actually not a bad thing, where you can actually try to help them before they get caught up in some of these things as well. So what is the reason they go in there? Keep them off the streets, keep them busy, and you know how we're saying some of these things, like look at the telltale signs. What is my kid doing that's different?
Yeah. Are they behaving
Are they behaving differently? Like is all of a sudden my child is saying I'm going to go out a lot more when they don't normally? Have they got more? And this might sound mad to some people, but things like like coughing and blowing their noses and things like that. These are all telltale signs in terms of the physical aspect of things. Is their behaviour erratic?
Yes. Could they be happy one minute and
because if you look at psychology, look at psychology. What does it say? What's erratic behaviour? Why is this all of a sudden erratic behaviour? Distancing yourself from family members because it's guilt. You're like I can't
alone?
face. I can't face, or I just don't. They don't get me, and then sometimes it starts off with guilt. Then it becomes actually, you know what? I need to isolate myself from them. Isolating yourself, taking yourself more into your phone, more away from contacting your friends a lot more.
Are they asking for more money?
And then the most dangerous, and this is not related to drugs specifically or addictions, but I have seen the link where sometimes then actually I'm questioning Islam. Is God really there? Because what's happened is because you can't handle what you're going through.
You've got to blame someone or something.
Then you're thinking, well, hang on a second, is there even a God?
We've
had youth come to us and say, well, actually, I don't know, because now I'm going through all this. Why am I going through pain? How come I'm suffering? Why am I going through? So it's this not understanding even to
the fact that, like, to the extent of, like, well, I've been making these du'as
Yeah.
And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala
The parents
hasn't accepted that dua, so
Yeah.
why should I bother carrying on making that dua when...
Can I just say something on that? Because there might be many people, or some people, or maybe in the future people will listen to this. And I think the key thing to mention with regards to dua is a lot of us have this slight kind of hesitancy, like I made dua and it wasn't accepted. But we have to understand with dua there's 5 things that happen. Allah Azza wa Jal is such a being, he's such a beautiful being, that he doesn't like to reject your dua. He's too high for that. So he doesn't like to reject the dua. So what happens with the dua is either it gets accepted, either it's delayed, okay, or either what happens is a calamity is removed from the way of a person. So say for example, I was supposed to break my leg, I made dua, Allah give me £1 million, just as a scenario. Now maybe I don't break my leg because Allah Azza wa Jal removed that calamity from my way. I'm just giving you an example. Another is that for example, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows this person's asking to go to that college or that university. I know that university, if she goes there, then in the future this might happen. Allah Azza wa Jal knows, he knows. Now he thinks, okay, so as a consequence he'll give you something else which is in its place, because he knows that is good for you. So that's your
He
fourth
has
thing.
the wisdom.
He knows what's good.
People don't think that.
And then the last thing that happens with the dua is that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives it you in the akhirah. So he gives it in the hereafter. And then when he gives you that dua, people, it's mentioned to the nearest meaning, is that people will wish that they could come back on the earth and none of their duas were accepted, so that they could receive them in the hereafter. So I think one of the things to remember is, look, hope. Never ever think any dua you've made is not wasted. It's just something is happening that's most beneficial for you at that time. So even if
we can't see it, we can't see that thing, and I think for us human beings, we're too impatient.
I know, I'm impatient.
You know, we want that thing. You know, we want that thing to happen. We want it now. We want it yesterday. You know, and if it's not happening,
so mums
people can, you know, so parents
keep at it. Mums keep at it. I promise you, there's nothing more stronger than the dua of mother. So keep at it.
Someone said that problem is people are too quick to judge. We could help by feeling empathy for the victim. Other than 100%, I agree with what Sadia has said.
You've just mentioned that before. Like, instead of like putting them down, you know, mocking them, and you know, even as a society,
as a society, if you know you don't have to go there for gossip. Because that's what we do as a society. You know, we hear something, we want to go and find out the details. All you would be helping the parent 100 times more if you just went up to them and say, look, I know you're going through some difficulties. I don't want to know the details. I don't want to intrude. Is there anything I can do to help? Is there any way that I can create ease? That's all you have to do.
And just to add to what you're saying, is something that's really important for a person who's got a family member who's going through drugs, addictions, or any kind of addictions, is to remember, and this judgmental thing comes in, is Allah still loves them. He's still their Rabb. He still loves them. He hasn't deserted them. He hasn't left them. He isn't condemning them to the hellfire. So who is society to do that? So to remember this as well. So I know it's difficult because we fear what society's going to say, and we fear what everybody else is going to say, and what extended family, and even our own family sometimes is worse than extended families. But what we have to understand is that Allah Azza wa Jal still loves that being, even if the person is on drugs or even if they're on that. So they will help them through that, because they have to go through a process. But you just keep doing what you can do and trusting in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, relying on him, using the supports that are provided and things like that.
But then again, like there's that
we're gonna have to start wrapping up.
Okay, but just this one last thing, that people feel that like there's that saying that, you know, don't go to the people for help, just rely on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So where how?
Yeah, but doesn't Allah create the means?
He does.
In the dunya as well as him. Allah doesn't.
So Allah uses people as a means to get
so
get close to him. So
you have a flu or the cold, or you have an illness. Allah has given the doctors and the medicine, but the reliance at the end of the day
is on Allah.
It's not on the medicine. The reliance is on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that through the medicine, oh Allah, you will cure me.
Allah is a shafi.
So you're not just, it's like, oh, my risk is written. Okay, I'll just sit at home.
I'll just sit at home and wait for my money to come to me.
I'll wait for the biryani to be cooked. That's the best one.
So
I'm relying on Allah.
is it going to come?
So you've got that reliance on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, but you're using the means that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given to you.
Yes,
absolutely.
to get to that.
So they're saying it, tie your camel and then rely on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Do what you can, what's in your ability according to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
You don't leave your door open at night time.
I say it's alright.
Rely on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
I haven't even got alarm. I've got no insurance. I'm just relying on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala,
which is a good thing to have, but have it by as using the
in a
asbab
realistic way.
So use
be
the
sensible.
means,
100%.
if you are struggling, as a parent, as a family member, you know somebody has got an addiction, go out there and get that help.
Yeah, because you're gonna if you have the incorrect understanding or you have the misunderstanding, at the end of the day, Allah's created the means, and you're saying, right, I'm just relying on Allah. I'm not even looking at the means. What's going to happen to you and your faith? Because you're not following it properly, and then you're the one that's going to feel demotivated, and you're going to say, I've done dua and I'm relying on Allah. When Tyra's saying that the dua is there are 5 ways for the dua to be accepted, and B, Allah is the one that has created the means, and we need to follow those.
Most definitely. And it's just the first step. Again, I would recommend anybody who's just thinking, no, I don't want people to know, just take that first step of trying to get help, and you'll feel better for it.
Even our Women Talk at Zavi.org, it's a confidential service. Your details aren't shared, your problems aren't shared with anyone else, and we will try 100% to get you to someone, even just to maybe give you some advice, some practical steps on where to go to help you physically, and we will try our best to give you that emotional support as well. So please do get in touch with us.
So we'll wrap it up now.
Sorry. What is the best advice?
Retreat poster, you can mention it.
Okay.
What is the best advice to give someone who is helping another person with an addiction is constantly put down by others? The best advice for that is that I would say forget what everyone else is saying. If you're trying to help someone else, then
you're doing the right thing.
Don't worry about what other people are saying. They're not your judge. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is your judge, not the people. You're trying to help someone through a difficulty. As long as that person is genuine, they want the help, you're trying to help, then mashallah, good on you for doing that. So people shouldn't worry about what other people are saying, but also keep yourself safe as well.
So inshallah, if anyone has got an addiction, or they know anybody that has got an addiction, and they want the help, they can contact Womentalk. The email should be on the screen.
At Zavia.org.
Zavia.org.
And just one
we'll just signpost.
Yes.
You can signpost you to
and they
relevant.
can see, there'll be a poster on the screen, I think, maybe being displayed as well. So just to mention some of the things, as we said, that the organisation provides support, and we mentioned about the brothers and maybe the male family members need that support as well. We have qualified, trained mentors to a very, very high level who can help with that. But you can see that there's going to be a tour coming near you anywhere. You can see lots of different towns coming up on the poster on the screen. And I think one of the things that I feel that sometimes can be an issue that is that can lead to people to different types of addictions is betrayal as well. So this is going to be one of the hot topics coming to a town near you. So betrayal, the fallacy of fake friends and false hope. So finding who the real friend is. And who we should be making the friend. So look out for that. So you'll be finding that it's on the screen. Maybe take a picture of it now, and then
there's a contact number.
Yeah, there's
a website as well that you can go on to.
And they'll be coming to a town near you. So any town you can have a look, and you'll see this coming to a town near you, inshallah.
Yeah. So, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.